Hey everyone, we're here to report about authentication bypass. This is a look for how authentication works and hacking personal data. For the introduction, Mr. Archer Jim Sanchez, may you please do the introduction for us?
To private information or system without the required authorization are known as broken authentication or authentication bypass.
Okay.
An attacker gains access to application, service, or device. The privilege of an authorized or privileged user by evading an authentication mechanism. The attacker is therefore able to access protected data without authentication ever having taken place.
Thanks.
This refers to an attacker gaining access equivalent to an authenticated user without ever going through an authentication procedure. This is usually the result of the attacker using an unexpected access procedure that does not go through the proper checkpoints where authentication should occur. For example, a website might assume that all users will click through a given link in order to get secure material and simply authenticate everyone that clicks the link. However, an attacker might be able to reach secured web content by explicitly entering the path to the content rather than clicking through the authentication link, thereby avoiding the check entirely. This attack pattern differs from other authentication attacks in that attacks of this pattern avoid authentication entirely, rather than faking authentication by exploiting flaws or by stealing credentials from legitimate users. In this research, we're going to use one of the basic methods in hacking, which is brute force attack. So, Mr. Allen Jan Garcia, can you take over?
Before we talk about brute force attack, let me demonstrate you how attackers before or is the basic hacking method that they use to bypass the authentication. Okay, for this demonstration, we'll be using the Try Hack Me website, which is good for learning how to hack. But kung ano yung matututunan natin dito, it is for academic purpose only. Take note of that. So without further ado, let's start the machine. The only problem here is it takes time to load the machine, but we can check this one. Okay, so to outsmart a hacker, you need to think like one. This is the core of offensive security. It involves breaking into computer systems, exploiting software, bugs, and finding loopholes in applications to gain unauthorized access. The goal is to understand hacker tactics and enhance our system defense. In this try hack room, you will be guided through hacking your first website in a legal and safe environment. The goal is to show you how an ethical hacker operates. But before we do that, let's review by answering the question below. Type your answer in the text box after the question. Okay, so which of the best? Of course, it's offensive security. And connecting na siya. Okay, so as we can see here, this a demonstration, and then right now we're going to demonstrate how we are going to bypass the authentication of a bank account or a bank. Sorry. So first is open the terminal, and then inside the terminal, and we are going to input this command right here. And what is it? Go master dash u. Dash u means user, and then http fake.phm and dash w. The meaning of dash w is to list the txt file. word list dot txt dir. Dir means directory, and then all you have to do is run this. Okay, so once it's finished, you should find a secret bank transfer page. So we have to go back to the page and then copy this one. This is the secret page. And to bypass the bank, the authentication of the bank, all we have to do is this one and then enter. As you can see, we are already bypassed the authentication of a bank account by typing the direct page pag-transfer ng pera. Okay, so next is, let's say, 2276 bank account number ng victim. I sent to 8881, which is our bank account number, and the amount is yan, send money, ayan, transfer, return to your account. And there we go. That's ganun yung way para ma-bypass ng mga hackers noon yung mga banks. That is the very basic ng pag-hack or pag-bypass ng authentication. Next is, what is brute force attack?
Brute force attack. What is brute force attack? A brute force attack represents a cyber attack in which attackers systematically attempt every possible combination of usernames and passwords until they successfully gain access to an account. The term brute force conveys the concept of using sheer computational power and persistence to break through security measures. Brute force attack is a method hackers use to gain access to accounts or systems by systematically trying every possible combination of passwords or keys until finding the correct one. This approach resembles attempting to open a lock by testing every key. Hackers often target weak or common passwords, which increases their chances of success. Although brute force attacks can be effective, they are also time consuming. Security measures like strong, complex passwords and multi factor authentication can mitigate these attacks. One of the simple brute force attack used is trial and error approach. What is trial and error approach? The core of a simple brute force attack follows a trial and error methodology. Attackers select a target system such as a website, server, or application. The software begins attempting various combinations of usernames and passwords until successfully logging in. In this scenario, the attacker tries multiple combinations until finding the correct password. The effectiveness of a brute force attack largely depends on the computational power available to the attacker. Modern attackers may use botnets, networks of compromised computers to increase their guessing speed. Researchers have demonstrated that with sufficient resources, it is possible to guess up to 350 billion passwords per second.
This time I'm going to demonstrate to you how the brute force attack. So we're just going to open the list of the candidate username and password, combination of username and password. Okay, so let's just click my account and then let's try to begin with a random username. So uh, will me 69 I love kittens and invalid username. Going to open browser. Ano to? Mail address. Academy. Authentication. Ito. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate you how bypass brute force attack. So let's input a random username. So view 69 and the password is I love cowgirl. invalid username. And we're going to use Bird Soup Community Edition. This is the one of the popular application used for testing your system authentication for your system. And then we're just going to choose log in and then send to intruder. And let's go to intruder, and we're going to use the sniper attack since we're going to bypass the authentication. So we're just going to double click the wheel69, which is the username that we input a while ago, and then add. Once we've added payload is going payload screen will appear here, and then all we have to do is copy all the possible username, paste it here, and start attack. Okay, and next is we're going to sort the length from high to low. Just going to wait until the highest one will appear, for example 3 to 50, and then we're going to check the response, and if we'll be able to see if we're going to see this we'll be able to see this if the username is correct. Once oh yeah, so we're going to use accessor, and then we're going to input a random password, so code16. Accessor code6, and there, incorrect password, meaning we inputted the correct username. And for the password, discard this. And for the password, we're going to do the same method. So let's click the most recent one, and then right click to this one, send to intruder. And here, going to double click the password and add. And then copy paste all the possible password, and paste it here and start attack. All you have to do is just wait for the let me I'm going to correct what I said. We're looking is the lowest value, so let's check response, and this output means it's the correct password. The username is accessor and the password is football, and there we go. The conclusion here is the system yung system is wala siyang second layer ng authentication or ng security. That is why madali lang siyang ma-hack or ma-bypass. So for example, I'm the hacker, and then going to if I want to change the email all I have to do is just click use the user manual at blah 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 and then update email and done. The original user of the account won't be able to use the account since napalitan natin yung email and possible na pwede natin palitan yung password. We're going to play example scenario, authentication bypass, and
Oh my God! Ang ganda ng Facebook! Sheesh! Wait na ako lang ako. Username. Full name ko na lang lalagay ko. Allen John Garcia. Password. Ayoko mag-isip ng complicated na password. Yung birth date ko na lang. January 1, 1999. Ayun, okay na. And then, two-factor authentication? Ano yun? Ang hassle naman masyado. Kailangan pa mag-send ng code sa message tsaka Gmail. Huwag na. Wala rin naman mag-out ng account code. Oh my God, ang ganda!
Sino ba yung aking mabibig ko mga yan? Allen John Garcia. Born January 1, 1999. Dog kick. Favorite number 69. Email. Baka ito ang kanyang account. Uy. Tingnan nga natin ang kanyang post. I love my cat. Okay. Yung bago lang post na. Uy, baka di niya alam yung kung ito ang kanyang combination. Ano ang kanyang password? Pwede gamitin niya ito at may favorite Kiki 60. Incorrect. Saka school. Bawal. Ano kaya po kanyang birthday? January 1. Pasok ko kanyang account. Ano ka nang pwede kong palitan dito? Post ID.
Nahook yung account ko! Ano to? Oh my God! Sino nag-post? Hindi pa ako nagpo-post! Nahook yung account ko! Paano nangyari to? Oh my God! Oh no! Anong gagawin ko? Oh no, dapat sinunod ko yung two-factor authentication! Oh my God! Paano ko marinig to? Hindi! Nalagap na ako! Oh no!
and then yun, done na yung video. So let's jump to the two-factor authentication. That is why Facebook added a feature for security called two-factor authentication. After logging in with correct credentials, the system will ask for the sent code in the user's mobile number or email, and the feature of Facebook that will notify the user if there is an attempt of logging in that can show the IP address of the attacker and its location. Prevention. As a programmer, how do programmers prevent the authentication bypass during the development of a program? By implementing two-factor authentication, such as OTP, use of authenticator, Google application, fingerprint, face recognition, as programmer, testing of authentication is important. Why? Testing the authentication schema means understanding how the authentication process works and using that information to circumvent the authentication mechanism. How do we test the authentication? There are several methods of bypassing the authentication schema that is used by a web application. Direct request, forced browsing, which is we did go yung about sa pag-bypass ng authentication, parameter modification, session ID prediction, pretty similar sa brute force attack, and SQL injection. Not everyone is able to understand and will be able to implement two-factor authentication. So, as a programmer, it is required to add a feature that will force the user to add two-factor authentication in order to secure the user data. To prevent exposing private personal information such as full name, mobile numbers, birth date, etc., should be in private to prevent hackers from getting information from the user like social media and e-commerce applications website. Implementation of two-factor authentication like use of an application called Authenticator that can be installed in Play Store for Android users. OTP or so-called one-time password authentication code that can be sent through email and mobile number. Use strong passwords by using special characters. Avoid using personal information as passwords such as birth date and full name. Change your password once a month or once in a while. You can also use a password generator online. You can click this link for the online generator. Bypassing. So this is a short activity for you to try how to use a brute force attack using the Burp Suit Community Edition. All you have to do is just follow the steps and then it's done. Okay, so this is the table checklist for brute force attack step-by-step process. And that's the end of our presentation. Team members are Jose Allen Genji, Mr. Sanchez Asher James, and Mr. Zacharias Jimal Mark. Give yourself a round of applause. Okay, so thank you for participating to this presentation, guys, and that's all for our presentation. Goodbye.